to truly believe in the magic.
Hello and welcome to Penny for Your Thoughts, an Orlando Magic UK podcast. We are recording on Sunday, April the 26th, the day after the Magic took a 2-1 series lead in Orlando with a 113-105 win in the Kia Center. We've been joined tonight by a man who was in the Kia, well known on Magic Twitter, a great voice on the Sixth Man Reaction, perhaps the greatest Twitter handle of all time, and I really mean that. MattyWorldPeace, Part 2, the return to the pod. Matty, how are we, and what was it like in the Kia?
That's high praise there, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on. And no, I just yesterday was electric. Just the energy that the fans bring in the Kia is something that I can't explain. You just have to be there and be present. If you get to a regular season game, it's great. It's awesome. High value entertainment, any basketball game the Magic have. But there's just that feel when a playoff game is around that you just don't have, you don't experience. And we got a taste of that, the game that we played against Charlotte for the play-in game. After experiencing that crowd, I was like, okay, after all the lows this season, that crowd was like, okay, we're coming come playoff time. And sure enough, Magic fans delivered. Game 3 is always fun. The first game back in the Kia when it comes to the playoffs is always a fun time. I'm excited for what the fans are going to bring tomorrow night, especially being up 2-1. It was absolutely electric, man. Absolutely electric.
As someone watching from home and just sending those positive vibes over into Orlando, I thought it came through the screen.
Yeah. And I went back this morning and watched the highlights to the game because I do like to hear national media's commentary when we're in the game. And of course, miss that being there. But you could hear the fans. And it probably it was loud. Just doesn't compare to how it is in the arena. Sometimes, of course, you hear the music playing nonstop on TV. But yeah, it's just electric. Every single play, fans were cheering, fans were booing. I love starting the refs you suck chants. Those ones always get me going. But yeah, it was incredible. And look, we're here. It's playoff season, and the fans, we deliver.
Well, speaking of someone who hates the refs, has got some comments maybe on the refs. We've been sent a little bit of footage from Orlando because we can react to this, but G recorded a video with Tom afterwards outside of the Kia. So if we can fire that up and react to this, I think it might be quite interesting.
Right, we just finished game 3. Magic win, 113-105. I'm here with Tom from the UK also, and fantastic performance from all the guys. Special shout-outs really, Suggs, Bane, Paulo, and Wendell especially. Was fantastic. What do you think, Tom?
Everyone. I can't fault anyone in that team. Everyone was brilliant.
The only ones we can probably fault are the referees for not knowing the rules, but what can we say? It's same old, same old. So we'll be back at it on Monday, game 4. So we are potentially guaranteed a Magic win in 5 or a 6 game on Friday. So happy days. Right, go Magic.
Go Magic.
He's absolutely right. There's 2 refs when they're doing their job out on the court. Doesn't seem like they're doing it too well. And that is one that we had yesterday with Tony Brothers. A lot of calls that Tony Brothers makes that I just can't get behind, and I get so fed up dealing with his calls. And then Scott Foster's the other one, whom I got to actually meet when the Magic let me do the fan of the game experience a couple years back. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, Tony Brothers just doesn't do it. We'll see who the crowd's going to be next, or who the reffing squad's going to be next game. I'm expecting Scott Foster. The NBA's got to get their sell in. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, G's right on that one.
I saw on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it, the Scott Foster prediction coming in after the game last night. It's a weird one for me because, first of all, I saw that video get sent through. And when I was watching it, the first thing I thought was, you've been shouting and drinking. And I could tell, Jake, I think you've been drinking, but it sounded like it. But then I was just waiting. I was like, there's something coming on the referees here in classic G fashion. And it fired in there. I came in on 90s basketball, so it's a weird one because I'm really liking the physical play. So in the first half, even when Isaiah Stewart hit Jalen Suggs, I was just like, physical game. It's fine. I'm okay with whatever call comes through here, but it was the rim one where Wendell did the dunk. And then when you look back and the hand went through the rim, I think it was Isaiah Stewart's hand went through the rim. And I was like, if you're watching that on a playback, you miss it live, one thing, but on a playback, you need to be seeing that.
Yeah, was that challenged? I thought that was challenged, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It was definitely slowed down and taken to the table. And I was like, how are we missing this? How are we debating it? It's there.
And it looked like the call was initially good, and I watched the replay and saw Cade Cunningham do a little challenge thing, had them go look at it, which I don't know how you missed that after a review, after a replay. That makes absolutely no sense to me, but that was horrific. Well, it was small things like that is what set me off. Those type of plays, because that was monumental. Wendell did his little, I'm bigger than you type of move after that play. So it's the inconsistencies, and that's one thing, being a Magic fan, that we've kind of had to deal with over the last couple of years. Is there was a statistic shown in that the Magic always get the worst ref crews, the lowest, the newest, the rookies. It's always given to the Magic whenever they play their games. So I feel like I've grown accustomed to bad calls, but stuff like that, especially when it's reviewed, just egregious. Can't have that.
That was the one yesterday, because I was quite okay with things, but it was that one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't like that. Usually I'm quite down the middle, so I won't get up and shout, because I'm just like, if it's physical play, it's physical play. Let's have more of it. But when that happened, I was like, you need to be seeing that. You really need to be seeing that. So it's interesting, but I knew afterwards. I was like, I know what's coming on this video. You know, and you're just watching something, you're like, I think this is what's going to happen. And yeah, G's in there. So the referee might not have survived. He might have been waiting for him in the car park. The crew might be done. Last night, Des Bane, before the game, there was a lot of talk about how he'd been so far in the series, even though for me, he's been a standout for the Magic. And he's basically Saturday, he's gone in, bit of pressure on him, gone 7 for 9 from deep, 25 points, 7 rebounds. How impressed were you with Des last night for this series, and then what could come from here?
I wasn't really impressed to the degree where I was like, oh, wow, like Desmond Bane had a game. No, that's why we brought him here. That's why we traded the 4 first-round picks, Cole Anthony, KCP, for him to come here and shine in those type of moments. And he is absolutely – I was skeptical at the start of the season. Of course, he was getting accustomed to everybody. He had to gel with the team, build that chemistry up. But he had a phenomenal year for us. I would even go out on a limb saying that he was probably our best player this year, just based on consistency and always being able to hit big game-winning shots, threes. But that's the type of player that we traded for, that guy right there. So game 1 was a struggle. Didn't look too great on his side, but he was battling with an illness, so I gave him a pass for that one. Game 2, not so great either. However, I will say, and I'll give him credit, because this Detroit Pistons team is phenomenal defensively. I mean, when you talk about the Pistons and Magic, that's a reason why this series is a series, is because both of these teams are very similar. Physicality, defense. The offensive scoring isn't there, but the two teams just grind out a game, battle you, make physical plays. And so he delivered last game. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Hitting 7 of 9 threes, which you said playoff record, right? And I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Or Magic.
Equal Dennis Scott, I believe.
Oh, he tied tennis? Okay. So, yeah, having a guy that can do that is monumental. And, again, that's why we brought him in to do that. So, hopefully that kind of gets him going for the next game. And he's been dealing with Azar Thompson on him, who is a phenomenal defender. Definitely an all-defensive team player this year, one of the best wing defenders. So you need that. That's going to help build confidence with him. And he doesn't need to have confidence, because he's just a player that if he's not going to have, if something's going wrong, he's ready to throw the ball at someone, play some dodgeball out there. But it was an awesome performance. Awesome performance from Des, and that's the player that we traded for. So I'm very happy that he's starting to finally get some rhythm in this series, because we need him.
I think he's the X factor, Matty, for the entire series, because if Detroit had Des Bane, I think he unlocks Jalen Duren for them.
Yep.
Whereas we've got Des Bane, and the way that game started off last night in the first quarter, and we're all nervous when we're watching it, but I was like, this is you trying to funnel Paulo, Franz, Wendell into Jalen Duren on when he was on the court, Isaiah Stewart. And I was like, we have to have good shooting from deep. and the
Absolutely.
points in the game, and Des Bane did it. And the fact he's doing that with Osar Thompson, I mentioned before we came on air, I watched a couple of Pistons pods, and one of them said that they felt it was his best game ever as a Piston last night.
Yeah.
For them now, I don't watch Detroit every week. We know what he brings defensively, but for Des Bane to do that whilst Thompson's having a very good game and he's got that level of defender on him, makes him the X factor to unlock it at all, because you leave him open, and if Suggs is going to hit threes as well, it leaves us that space for Paulo, Franz, Wendell, to a slightly lesser extent, to exploit.
I 100% agree. Just having shooters that can spread the floor opens the paint up for Paulo driving, for Franz driving, and Wendell, who's battling down low to cut to the rim. Even guys like AB cutting to the rim, which we just need that movement. I think game 2 we were lacking that. That's why guys were just standing around. That's why we got that 30-3 run on us. You can't have that. You got to have movement. And the thing is that Paulo and Franz are such big gravitational pulls for a defense that you just drive, got 2 guys. We see how many possessions of Paulo getting double and triple teamed. So to be able to kick that ball out to a guy that you know is going to hit that shot and has been one of the best 3-point shooters is definitely what has taken our team to the next level. Of course, struggling this year, just getting momentum, injuries, everybody in and out of the lineup. It's been a struggle, but this is what we envision this team to look like and be. So it's been awesome, and we need to keep it going. That's the thing with Des. We got to have another big game next game with Des.
Yeah, we need it, and he changes everything if we get that again, because if Des Bane's put up 25, 30 points and hitting threes at a high rate, because I think the inside is going to be closed off to him, particularly with how Des is built as well, with the length in there. But if he's hitting on the outside, it's going to be a long night potentially for Detroit. But Matty, you mentioned Wendell Carter Jr. there, who had he had a game. He kind of out Jalen Duren with his 14 points, 17 rebounds, 8 of them offensive. I thought he really got in Isaiah Stewart's head as well, which is something I think that can be done. So what is Wendell doing, which is having this impact on Detroit? Because the frustration with Duren through the first 3 games is very real in Pistons land, from what I'm picking up.
I think it's more so what Wendell has done, and he has stolen Jalen Duren's girl. Angel Reese. Angel Reese is his girlfriend, and of course, a little bit of extra to everything that goes on with Wendell in that aspect. No, but in all serious, like, Dell has been an absolute stud this postseason, and he started off the year very good. And the guys were even talking before the season started, like, Wendell's an X factor for this team. And then November hit, and it was just on a decline, disappeared. Now, one thing with Dell that has driven me crazy, experiencing him and watching him play for the last 5 years now, is Wendell always gets some BS calls on him. Some things that are not calls, some fouls that shouldn't be called. Or it's always been a thing of his for some reason. Refs just watch him down low, and I think that comes from his play style with the physicality. And I think that's really where he's winning the battle with Duren, is the physicality. Because the Piston team, they thrive off of physical play. But guess what? They're matched up against a team that also thrives off physical play, which, if you want to talk about it, I mean, Pistons are like little brother to the Magic to that degree. There's always been that small rivalry brewing the last couple of years. We've gotten a couple fights. Mo Wagner got punched in the back of the head by ex-Piston player Killian Hayes. There's always been that little brother, big brother thing, and the teams are very similar in play style. I just think that we're the better team when it comes to that type of play. So I think he's really been able to contain Duren, and that's been the series changer for us, because that guy's an all-star. That guy's potential all-NBA type of player. And I'm a big Duren fan. I have been since he was drafted. I thought that was a guy that the Magic should have gone after. So being able to limit him down low. And last game, he did have a couple alley-oops there in the first quarter that I was like, oh no, we're going to have a Duren game. But Dell's been incredible containing it. And the thing is, I think that's what's separating him. Duren has games where he can get 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
And Wendell's stopping that. Wendell had 17 rebounds last game, and that's something that the Magic have had to do, is just win the rebounding game, and they've been doing that, especially, I think, Wendell had, was it 7 or 6 offensive rebounds?
He had, let me have a quick check because I've got that written down in my notes. 8 offensive rebounds.
8 offense. That's incredible. So that's what we need to win this series is keep grabbing the boards. And the thing is with Beef Stew is he is one of those guys that's an emotional player, and we've seen him charge LeBron James after a foul. So you could see it. We were booing him every time they showed him on the Jumbotron yesterday when he had that one play at the end of the first half where he ripped Wendell by the jersey and kind of shoved him to the side, which I thought he should have been ejected after that. So I think he got a technical prior.
Yeah.
So getting in his head is monumental. And like I said, physicality, we're just going to win that match because we've been doing this for a little bit longer than them on the physical play. So I think that's been the main difference when it comes to how Wendell's been able to stop Duren and Beef Stew.
It's interesting because with Wendell, I agree with you, by the way, because I think he was already on one for the flagrant on Suggs, which was called.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I wasn't really that bothered about it. I thought the one on Wendell was more deliberate than the one on Jalen Suggs. But you can get into Stu's head quite easily. Jalen Duren, a fascinating watch for Magic fans because he seems to me has a lot of shades of Dwight Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Game in terms of build, in terms of being almost like a paint-only player,
Yep.
very much a throwback, very physical. I'm wondering if in Game 4 or Game 5, Bickerstaff might actually change the lineup to try and put Beef Stew in there with Duren to try and contain the Magic size. It's been something after the game last night. I was like, what would I do if I was Bickerstaff right now? Because the way we're playing against what the Pistons bring. And I was kind of looking and I was going, I wonder if he's going to would push Tobias Harris down to 3 and try and go big and match up and bring Duncan Robinson off the bench because offensively, yes, it's more maybe he's low scoring than people expected, but Duncan Robinson is that guy who can come off the bench, I think, with just his shooting prowess. And it's just something that crossed my mind. I was like, I wonder if they would contemplate that if things are going bad to put in that.
I actually like that adjustment a lot on the Pistons side. I think that would be a nice change of pace, and I think that having 2 bigs like that, physical bigs down low, would give us problems. So how would we counteract that? That would be just something where whoever's playing the 4 for us, whether it's Paulo or Franz, has to just spread the floor and be able to hit some shots. And we've seen in the last couple of years, if it's Paulo at that 4 spot, he's been able to do that and hit some threes. That's the thing that's been pretty impressive with him come postseason ball is that he performs, but he hits his threes. His threes fall, and we had a couple big ones last night. So I think that's how you would counteract that. Duncan off the bench for them, that's kind of scary to the degree of who would we put on him defensively? Would you put AB to cover him then coming off the bench? But that's the thing is the Magic, how they've been playing is, hey, let Cade Cunningham kill us. Let him do whatever he wants, right? Same thing that happened to us in the 2009 series against Cleveland. Let LeBron kill us, right? Let LeBron get whatever he wants. Just stop everybody else. So that would be a great adjustment from the Pistons side, and I'm curious to see if that would get like Wendell in foul trouble, having 2 bigs down low, which that could change the game, having Wendell. And I will give Goga his props. He's been pretty great down low as well, defending Beef Stew and Duren. So maybe you see some Mo Wagner minutes then.
Yeah.
Would like to see some Mo minutes. I love him out there as an agitator and someone who draws charges. And Mo always has a dunk in a game that's going to get the fans going. So I would love that. But we don't know what he's looking like right now, as far as health wise.
He's had a pretty bad injury. I think for me, Mo Wagner's all about next season, just to go out and get up to speed. But it was just the one thing that was crossing my mind of how would you do this if you were a Detroit coach, Detroit fan, etc. And I just thought, maybe that's something he would do because you still got Paul Reed who can come off the bench and give you some minutes as we saw in the second half. But I think Mo Wagner and Isaiah Stewart could be an interesting bet if it did happen about how long before they got into a fight or a technical each or something because you're asking
it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. There's going to be a nice scuffle here soon. And that might be something that happens in game 4 where they're just like, hey, go out there. JB Bickerstaff tells you, go out there and like agitate the Magic players, get them frazzled, get Wendell ejected or something like that. I think that would be a game changer, definitely. But this series is just going to get more and more physical, which like 90s basketball fans, this is what we like. We like this we like low scoring games, 2 physical teams. And to be fair, this has been one of the the more enjoyable series come playoff time out of all the series. It's been one of the most thrilling that I think people really tuning into. So I like that. I like when teams, other fans and other players get to see the Magic on this type of stage, because it just kind of sheds light of like, okay, well, wow, Paul almost had a triple double. I thought it was PB no J. What happened? So stuff like that. I like the stage. I like where the Magic are. Just keep hitting shots, keep playing physical, and we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting how the narrative swung, because we were the bad guys across the world for robbing the Hornets of the spot, because they'd become almost the entertainers and the media darlings, and now the series has really got physical and been a bit of a throwback. People are talking about it because of what we kind of knew. If you were a Magic or a Pistons fan, what was coming.
I don't think the Charlotte series would have been like this at all. I think they would have had a couple games where they ran off with a couple wins, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near like where they could have stole. I think Detroit would have won that series. Now then again, Charlotte's killed us all year when it came to our style of play. Physicality is what we try to hit them with, and they just ran. And that's the thing what Charlotte did. But they're not in there, so they're going to have to wait till next year.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I've said on here a couple of times I really like Charlotte anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with a full season. And, good luck to them, good luck to everyone. And we went into the fourth quarter. Obviously, the Star Wars music's playing, etc. We're up by about 15 at one point. Detroit pull us back. We got, I thought, a really impressive fourth quarter from Cade Cunningham. We saw some big plays by Paulo. Franz, I thought, had played well defensively, but he came up with the offense in the fourth quarter. What do you think? Are we seeing playoff P here? And is Franz starting to look as though he's getting that little bit of the pep back in his step after, again, an awful injury, which looks as though Anthony Edwards has sustained something quite similar last night as well?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see Franz get back into rhythm. And like you said, he has been awesome defensively the whole series. But my main issue with the Franz situation is I would like to see him to start get going a little bit sooner than the fourth quarter. But he's been absolutely incredible. Fourth quarter Franz, like he's been incredible come the fourth quarter, and he's a big reason why we come out with the wins in these last 3 games. So I think we're playoff P yesterday was a great showing of that. I don't think Paulo has played necessarily great as far as the playoff standard that he has set his first couple years in the playoffs. So maybe we're still due for a big Paulo game. I would like one of our top 2 players to drop a 40 piece. I've been itching for a Franz 40 piece for a very long time. He seems to just stop right before 40. I think he's had 37, 38. So I would love for that. But if we can get Franz going quicker, I think these games are going to be over by the third quarter. And then to the Pistons' credit, they did claw back. They did fight back. It was a little bit scary there. They tied it up. I think it was 100 or 104 yesterday, if I remember correctly. But look, by the fourth quarter, I had about 20 beers in me. Everything was kind of blurry. But I just remember them tying it up, and then Franz hit the big 3. He did the celly, the telly celly, whatever you want to call it. So I think that stuff like that is big. And if he can keep shooting those shots and they're going down, that's a big game changer. And Cade is a potential MVP candidate. He is a number 1 draft pick. He's phenomenal. So you got to give him props too. We're not saying that he's bad, he's awful, So yeah, this Pistons team is the number 1 seed for a reason. So they fought back. The Magic struggle sometimes with shooting, which allows teams to get back into games. So I think you see stuff with that, but the Magic have a great ability to weather the storm. And we saw it in game 1 where the Pistons didn't have the lead at all. Magic went up a little bit. Pistons fought back, got within 1 point, maybe tied it up. The Magic went on another run. So that was cool to see. I think that kind of opened my eyes for the series, saying, okay, we actually have a chance this series. As long as that ball goes in the hoop, I'm confident. We didn't see it game 2. That 30-3 run is what killed us. But outside of that, there were 7 other quarters of basketball being played where the Magic played better. So we'll see what happens. Game 4 is back home. The guys play better back home. So I'm expecting a win tomorrow. I would not be surprised if Detroit came out with a win. I did see this series potentially going to 7. But if the Magic just handle business at home, then it's done in 6. Yeah. Or even better, Magic win in 5. But hey,
It would be awesome. I think for me, if the Magic take the next game, Detroit's got a real problem because the media pressure that will be on them as well. And going back to Detroit, very passionate fan base, even though I don't think that's came across in game 1 and 2. Passion can go both ways, where expectations involved as well. It's a first seed. Whatever we say about the Magic not being a typical number 8 seed, which has been floating around, and we know that really one game swung things, and the season could have been so different. That's we go into Detroit where we're 3-1 up. That is massive pressure for a young team, and as good as I think Cade Cunningham is, all the players in that will be feeling it. And I really would fancy us to, if not close it out there, bring it back to Orlando and do it then. So I think it's a huge game with a massive potential for what we can do going forward. So I'm really jealous that I'm not going to be there. Matty, you know, like when I'm watching in the UK, I see you a lot on my screen in the crowd. You know, because where your seats are, I'll look at it, know roughly where you sit.
Yeah.
I've seen you a few times popping up on TV. You and Cortez, I've caught you both in the audience, so it's good to see. It's good.
That's the thing too. Like anytime that I'm there in the arena, I want to be loud. I want to support the team. So there's been a lot of times where I've started "Let's Go Magic" chants, and to me, like it just feels special because you're like, all right, one voice just started this whole chant, and the guys feel that when they're playing, they hear that, and we've heard it multiple times about how Jamal Mosley said himself, like the fans came to play, the fans were the difference. Players, Paulo said it, Franz said it. So people don't realize that fans are such a big factor, and we've seen it the last 2 years in the playoffs where the Magic have struggled winning games on the road. And they come home, and we saw the Cavs series. We got blown out the first 2 games on the road, came back here, blew them out. And I will say this, 2 years ago against Cleveland, game 3 was awesome. The energy was awesome, especially because it was so long since we've experienced that kind of playoff atmosphere. But game 6, I remember game 6 more than I do game 3 that series. The energy in the arena was awesome because it was do or die, backs against the wall, and the Magic delivered. And that was the game that Donovan Mitchell absolutely destroyed us. Every shot he went in. It was a close game. But yeah, the fans make a difference, and it's a really, I can't emphasize enough how special of a feeling it is to experience playoff basketball in the Kia Center.
Well, definitely very jealous. But you were talking about making a difference. And I think if we're going to talk about a difference maker, someone to throw in there is Anthony Black. He's had a bit of a breakout, unlucky injury, come back in a bench role. And I think if you just glanced at it, you'd say, oh, well, he had 8 points and he didn't shoot particularly well. But when you then dig a bit deeper, watch the game and see how it's like he was hassling people, harassing them, bringing the energy he always brings. And then it's actually, there was 3 steals, there was 3 blocks, there was no turnovers. So that's apparently a bit of a record. Stat Defender said on Twitter that that's the first player who's ever done off the bench 8 points, 3 steals, 3 blocks, no turnovers in the playoffs. So what did you think AB gave us last night? Because I thought he just a total disruptor.
I'm a big AB fan. I've met him multiple occasions, got pictures with him. His mom actually follows me on Twitter.
Wow.
Talked to her in the arena too. Great people, big AB fan, big AB supporter. It sucks that he went down with that injury and was out for a little bit, and he's not fully back to where he was because he had a phenomenal season this year. I think if we had that AB where he started breaking out, having those 30-point games right now, this series would be a wrap. But yeah, he's pivotal off the bench. That's the thing. And because it's playoffs, the Magic aren't running 10 guys out there a game. Now we've limited the lineup to about 7 or 8 guys. So he has more time and more capability to be more of a crucial player on the floor. So yeah, he had 8 points, 3 steals. That's the type of player he is. A couple years ago, I believe it was Jesper Vagberg on Twitter, big Magic, Norwegian Magic fan. He had a tweet that just resonates with me when it comes to AB, where AB will have this span of like 3 minutes on a court where he just changes the game. And that's the type of player he is, and he's developed great. To me, if he just hits threes, that's what's changed his game this year is that having Des, Paulo will drive, Franz will drive, kick out, and AB's been willing to hit and take that shot. And working with Shamgod this summer, you could see how his game has changed. But if he's just taking those threes and they're going in, that's a game changer in itself, because both of these teams don't shoot well at all.
Yeah.
And he's a physical defender. He's a physical defender, and that's another guy that you can just throw out there and throw on probably 4 of the other team's players, and he can play them pretty great defensively. So AB was huge. Still quiet. Still, I would like to see a little bit more. And we're going to see that as the series goes on, especially him and Franz just getting back into shape. But they're probably coasting at about 75-80% health-wise right now. But, man, it's going to be scary if they're both back to 100.
If we're still in the playoffs and those two get back to somewhere near 100%, it unlocks another tier of Orlando Magic, really, which is scary. And we could go on here. We could talk about the contribution of Jalen Suggs, who was huge. We've got a flowers bit at the end. I'll get a chance to give some flowers out. Jamal Cain, really tidy last night. We're going to look at game 4, and I think we both can agree this is pivotal. If you're a Pistons fan, look at this, and I think if you said, right, you're going to have 27 from Cade, 5 and 9, albeit the turnovers were there. I don't think they were totally his fault. You're getting 23 and 7 from Tobias Harris, which is, he's capable of that. We know that as a former Magic player, but he's kind of in the autumn of his career now, and he did hugely well. Oscar Thompson with his best ever game as a Piston. You're getting probably somewhere around what you'd think from Duncan Robinson. You're probably sitting there thinking you should have won that game. And they've really not been. If they'd won that game last night, I think it would have been a travesty. So to really get going in game 4, is it a case of us doing what we're doing on Jalen Duren, sit on Cade, Franz on Cade? What would you do to try and win game 4? What would the MattyWorldPeace message be?
I would continue to do what they're doing now. Getting Duren out of the game has been huge. Like as I said earlier, he's an all-star. He's a potential all-NBA team player. So keeping him out of the game has been huge, especially because they're big and they're physical. So that's one of their best players out. Cade, Franz has done a phenomenal job on Cade. I was reading on Twitter earlier, there was a stat about Franz has been the best defender on him this series. I think it was like in a 13-minute span. He shot, I don't remember the percentages and everything, but Franz has done an incredible job on him. It's one of those things where, again, I think you try to just stop Cade as much as you possibly can, but he is a phenomenal player, so he's going to get his. Did have 9 turnovers last night. Like you said, not all of them were necessarily his fault. A lot of them did come from the Magic's defensive effort and how we play, so that's awesome. You love to see that. To me, limiting Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, and one guy who's been really quiet this series who – when Cade was out with his collapsed lung injury, Dennis Jenkins, who has been a revelation for them this year, keeping him quiet is huge. So we got to just limit those guys. Karis LeVert, he had a decent game last game. And then Paul Reed, of course, who the Orlando native, always been a fan of his. Just limiting those other guys on their team. That's what's changed this series. Dennis Jenkins is the one where I got highlighted. Like he's going to have a game here, I think. Tobias Harris, he's one of those guys where he's a vet, he's savvy. I do think that that's one thing that the Magic are missing, a vet like that who can come in big moments and kind of stay calm and collected. We had that a couple years ago with Joe Ingles.
Yeah.
I think we're missing that. But yeah, just limiting those guys. Just let Cade do whatever he wants. Limit him as much as you possibly can. If you can get him in foul trouble, great. But stopping Duren is what has put us in this position. So Mosley, credit to him. He did a phenomenal job with the game plan with stopping Duren from, being the type of player that he is.
Absolutely. It's absolutely exceptional because I think if we had a couple of Pistons fans sat here with us now and the series hadn't started, the argument would probably be that the top 3 players in the series, they would say 2 of them are from Detroit. And they would say, obviously, Cade, and the other one would be Jalen Duren. But right now, the way it's shaping up, he's kind of just been taken out of that equation. And it's almost, they've got an all-star sitting, is how it feels, because when the first quarter, I was exactly what you said, and at the start, I thought it was going to be Lob City all night. And then when it actually went on, he became a non-factor. So for me, if we can reduce Jalen Duren, I'm worried about Kevin Huerter. He's the guy who's worrying me because I'm just sitting there thinking one night there's going to be a Duncan Robinson, Kevin Herter 3-point party. So I'm a little bit worried about that one as well. That's one that I'm watching.
Yeah, you could him Duncan and Herter copy and paste the same player. If one of those is due for a game where, and we've seen Duncan do it in the playoffs before. I don't remember Kevin Herter having a big playoff game where, I mean, you hear all these like, I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons and he talks about there's always this like, he was talking about like the Baylor Shireman for Boston when he crushed us that final game of the year. There's always a series shifting game from one of those type of players. So if we can again limit them, because those guys are flamethrowers off the bench. So limit those guys as much as you can. Yeah. And to the Magic's credit, I mean, they have been. Our perimeter defense is good with Suggs on the court, AB. So Franz, of course. Just keep limiting those guys, and this series should be a wrap. Now, I don't like what Pistons fans are have been talking about recently. They don't seem really intimidated or scared, even though they're down 2-1, and we always get the excuse of, well, the Magic played their best game of the year, and the Pistons played their worst game. Well, now here we are. We've played 3 games. We're up 2-1, and there's been, about 11 out of the 12 quarters where the Magic have looked like the better team. So I think it's time for them to kind of start fearing. I think if we do win game 4, when we win game 4, that panic button is definitely getting slapped. I've seen some of them say, hey, I'm done with this team, but I want to see more panic from them right now. I'm holding back on talking trash as well, because I don't want. Well, shoot, we're T-Mac. We were up 3-1 with T-Mac against the Pistons. What was it, 2003? 2000 and, I think it was 2003.
Early 90s, yeah.
Where he was starting to talk trash, said we're going home, we're going to win this series, and Pistons came back and beat us in 7. So I want to hit that start talking trash button, but I want one more win in the bag before that I can do that, and I feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, right now I think you're hearing a lot of copium getting sold.
100%.
A lot of it, but another win, and it's bubbling. It's bubbling under because the Jalen Duren's getting quite a lot of question marks asked by his own fan base right now, and obviously he's held out for that bigger deal apparently as well. So it's a bit of an interesting one if you're Jalen Duren, and then hearing it from Angel Reese every time he logs into his social media.
I told you, that's the X factor right there, that relationship.
I hope that doesn't come back to bite us. I really hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
I really hope it doesn't. If we're giving out flowers then, the fans got them from Paulo and Des. Who would you be giving your flowers to for the series so far?
I got 2 sets of flowers to give. The first one we've talked about a lot already, and that's Wendell.
Yeah.
Someone that has had an awful year after October and has come to play and has been the player that we need him to be. So a lot of flowers go to him when it comes to just the Magic's play style. And there's always been talks of, is Dell a center? Is Dell a power forward? And he's doing his thing right now. So a lot of flowers and kudos go to him for his playing, his physicality. And I think that's a big reason why we're seeing more success from him right now, because he does play physical throughout the season. However, calls aren't called the same in the regular season as they were in the playoffs. So now he's getting away with a lot more stuff. So big kudos to him. And I got some flowers to give for someone who has taken a lot of flack this season. Someone who a lot of people want gone. And of course, we'll have those talks come off season time. But I want to give a lot of flowers to Jamal Mosley. This season, very up and down with him. There's been a lot of times where we're year 5 into Mo's coaching, and he's still making silly coaching errors where he should be calling timeouts when a run is going on before a run happens. Substitutions were crazy this year. Battled through it, and he has outcoached Bickerstaff, in my opinion, so far this series. So a lot of flowers go to Mose. He deserves them. I did love that story that came out when he showed the players' college tapes saying, hey, you guys know who you are. I thought that was awesome. So a lot of flowers to Mose, deserves them. And of course, who knows how far we go in the playoffs, and we'll have that conversation in the off season about his job. But he has earned every bit of flowers, and he's been awesome. So shout out to Mose
Yeah,
and Dell.
absolutely. And I think as well, like previous pod, I'd said if Moles was to keep his job, he needed a generational run in the off season. And before we came on today, and I was just going through stuff, and I was like, I wonder if we're going to get a generational run or not from Moles. It would be great to see, but I can't disagree with that, Matty, at all. Wendell, for me, has got the flowers so far. So that's kind of that's the key questions. Matty, before we, bring this to a close, is there anything you would like to plug, socials, etc., where we can catch you at?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on X or Twitter, as it should be called,
Sure.
at MattyWorldPeace. And of course, if you guys are interested in hearing my banter after games, I am with the Six Man Show podcast, and I do host post game lives. As far as playoffs, it's probably better if I don't hop on any of those, so I won't be doing any post game lives after playoff games. I have a record on my post game lives of hosting a lot of terrible losses. So we keep me out of after playoff performances, but that's where you guys can hear my commentary, and of course Twitter. Definitely tweet things in the moment. So I do say a lot of things that definitely backfire, but hey, I like to phrase it as a reverse jinx. So that's where you guys can follow me, find me. That's where I give my commentary on the Magic and this team that we love so much.
Take it from me, if you're not following Matty on Twitter, and we'll call it Twitter because that's what it should be, I agree. You should. One of the best Magic follows you'll get on there is Matty. You'll see him at the games if you look out, particularly when you've got that leather jacket on, which I think is a limited edition. I've seen that. That's fire. But again, give Matty a follow. Look out for him on the Sixth Man. From our angle, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Matty for giving up his Sunday afternoon. If you enjoy this pod, please give us a like, a comment, a subscribe. Podcast platforms, YouTube, we're on them all. All eyes are turning to Monday night. Everybody's going to be in. Please wear the T-shirts, the blue this time. As always, from us, go Magic.
Go Magic.
Hoop shot